Yeah, so hello everyone. So welcome everyone to the Knolx session. So in this Knolx session, we will learn how to implement the Keycloak authentication in React. So without wasting our time, let's just start the Knolx session. Uh, so before the session, we have some Knolx etiquettes which is important. So first one is the punctuality. So join the session 5 minutes before the session start time, and we start on time and conclude on time. And second one is feedback. So make sure submit a constructive feedback for all the session as it is very helpful for the presenter. So please submit a feedback. And third one is silent mode. So keep your mobile devices in silent mode. Feel free to move out of the session in case you need to attend an urgent call. And the last one is avoid disturbance. So avoid unwanted chit chat during the session, uh, so which will make some disturbance. So avoid that. Yeah, that's the knowledge etiquette. So now moving to the next
Pushpin,
slides.
sorry to interrupt you over here, but I'll request you to please make this deck in the slide preview form.
Okay, okay. It is better now.
Yeah, it's better. Thanks.
Okay. So coming to the next slide, this is agenda. So we will start from the what is Keycloak, and then we will jump to the features of Keycloak and how to integrate Keycloak with the React app. In this, we will go through these steps like how to integrate Keycloak with the React app and how to install the Keycloak server and how to setting up the Keycloak realm, which is important to set up the Keycloak with the React app. And then we will understand how to set up the Keycloak users. And then we will learn how to create React app. We will not create React app from fresh. I will show you some code because it's not a React session. And then we will understand how Keycloak works in React and how to integrate with the React app, the pages section. And then the last section will be the demo part. Yeah, so that's about the agenda of the today's knowledge session. And now coming to the what is Keycloak. So Keycloak is basically designed to help developers to add security to their application with the minimum effort. And so Keycloak supports multiple range of authentication protocol. So it includes OpenID Connect, SAML, ON, and OAuth 2. Okay, so there is minimal key difference between these three protocols. Like OpenID Connect is used for basically authentication, and OAuth OAuth protocol is used for the authorization, whereas SAML protocol is used for both these things. Like we can use SAML for the uh, authentication and authorization. And we have one major difference between the authentication and authorization. So anybody in the session know about this? Like what is the difference between authentication and authorization? Hello, I'm audible. I think anybody is not know about the difference between the authentication or authorization. Let me just give the answer. So authentication is basically used for to find the identity of the user. It is basically used to authenticate the user, whereas authorization is used for like to find the user access roles, like what are the files and features access to the user. So this is authorization. Uh, so these type of things for these type of things we can use the Keycloak, and as the definitions, as the first lines explain, like Keycloak is an open source identity and access management solution developed by Red Hat So Keycloak stores manage user information, permission, and other configuration data, as well as information regarding the authentication method, which is used for each application. So Keycloak, we can use Keycloak with any applications, any framework like React, Angular. It doesn't matter. Like we have to use only React to implement the Keycloak server. And so Keycloak provides features, authentication, authorization, user management within the application and services. So these are the basic features of Keycloak. Yeah, so I think that's all for the first slide. And now coming to the features of Keycloak. So we have multiple features of Keycloak, like uh, a multiple protocol support, single sign-on SSO, user identity accesses, and identity brokering, and role-based access control. We have other than that, we have multiple features as well, but these are some basic and most important features which is used by developers across the globe. Yeah, so let's understand one by one the features, like multiple protocol support. Uh, as you know, like Keycloak supports 3 different protocols. We understand in the Keycloak definition, like it supports OpenID Connect, OAuth 2.0, and SML 2.0. So these 3 are majorly supported by Keycloak. Next, we have single sign-on. So Keycloak has full support for single sign-on and single sign-out. So if like Keycloak enables user to log in once and access the multiple application. So in the demo, which I will show you in the after the all the slides. So we will understand the how to implement this feature as a single sign-on feature. And so this feature is simply used to the user login once, and user can use the application multiple times. Okay, and user don't have to log in again and again. So that's the benefit of single sign-on feature. Next, we have user identity and accesses. So Keycloak can be used as a standalone user identity access managed by user to create database with custom roles and group. We can manage the user admin and perform some operations where user have some different roles and admin have some different uh, features to access. So this we can identify with the Keycloak. Yeah, so that's about the third feature. And the next one is identity brokering. So it allows integration with the external identity providers such as Google, Facebook, and we have multiple providers like this. So it enables users to log in with their existing account as well. So we don't have to bother about like user have the Microsoft account or Facebook account or Google account. So we can easily allow user to log in with these credentials as well. So this is identity brokering. And the last feature is role-based access control, RBAC. So Keycloak allows you to define roles and permissions, which help us to control access for different part of our applications. Yeah, so these are some major features of Keycloak. And next we have so how to integrate Keycloak with the React app. So let's just see the steps one by one. So our first step will be the how to install the Keycloak server. So we have different ways to set up a Keycloak server on the local machine, but in this Knolx, we will pulling the Keycloak Docker image because it is much easier and faster to implement. Uh, because we have to paste one command and our Keycloak server will start from then. We can just start the development and set up the Keycloak server. So first we have to check the Docker version. So we have command Docker version, and if it's not installed, we can install by using a simple command. After confirmation like Docker installation is correct, the next step will be how to set up a Keycloak server. to set up the Keycloak server, our own local machine, we run this command docker run name keycloak dev 8080, and we can just simply paste the admin name and admin password to access the server. So these two things will be required in the long run to open the server, Keycloak server. And this is the same thing mentioned by in last step, like we can change the username to our preferred Keycloak admin username, and we can also change the preferred password for admin password. So these two inputs will be required to log into the server, Keycloak server. Yeah, so this is the first step. Anyone having any doubt? So we can discuss now. Otherwise, I will move to the next slide. So taking this as a no. So second step is setting up a Keycloak realm. Let's just understand what is realm. A realm manages set of user credentials, roles, and group. We can create multiple realms using a Keycloak server, and a user belongs to realm and logs into the realm. Realm are isolated from one another. We can use different realm for different apps and manage the authentication the way we want it. So by default, Keycloak ships with a realm called master. It is not preferred to use the master realm, but we can. I will use the realm master realm for the demo purpose only, but it's advisable to avoid the master realm. And to create new realm, we have some steps. So first step will be log into your Keycloak dashboard and hover over the master dropdown on the sidebar, and we have a menu with create realm should be appear. So we can click on this and input our realm name, and just we have to provide the realm name only, and we can create the new realm. So it's a simple process. I will show you in the demo section. So now coming to the screenshot. So this is the screenshot of the creating the yarn. So we have the URL localhost 8080. We have to, after running the Keycloak server, we can just open the localhost 8080 port, and we will see one drop down master. And when we hover the master realm, we can click on the create realm section, and this will create one section in which we have to input the realm name and simply click on this create button. Yeah, so this is the process to create the Keycloak realm. And the next one is setting up Keycloak user. So first we will create one realm, and after that we will set up our local machine to the realm, and after that we will create users to access the Keycloak authentication. And so this is the things mentioned in the slide as well. Like after creating a realm, the next step will be to add a user to it. And so clicking on the user site, add user will open a new window that appears in the site section, and we need to fill the needed details. And we can, if we wanted to email verified enable, so we can click on the on and save, and we can click on save to register the changes. After that, we have next step will be to create the credentials, which will open the new window, and we can set the passwords in the credential section. So we will input the password and confirm the user password section as well. And we have one toggle is well in this section. So if you wanted to enable, we can on. If you wanted to disable the temporary button, so we can set as this off. And after that, we can click set password to register the new password. And the last step in the Keycloak servers will be to register the React frontend app as a client. So if we wanted to do that, we can open the admin console and navigate the client section, and we can create the client, set up the client machine as well. So before that, completing the client section, we have to set the root URL, HTTP localhost 3000. With this, our Keycloak server is fully set up. So these are some steps to set up the Keycloak uh, server. So first we created the realm, then we set up the credentials, client machines, and which is our local machine, localhost 3000 URL of our React app, and then we will set up the Keycloak users. So these three steps are required to set up the Keycloak user. Yeah, so that's about the how to set up a Keycloak server. And now our Keycloak server is fully set up. So let's see some screenshots. So how is the process is working? So this is how we will create the user. I will uh, present this information in the demo as well. But let's see some screenshot. So this is the sidenet section in which we have to click on the user section, and simply we can paste the username and user email ID, and we have to paste the first name as well. So username is the only required thing. So we will avoid that our other things. And next we have the credentials part. So we wanted to set the password as well. So we will go to the credential section and we will set the password, and password we have to confirm the password as well. So this is the screenshot where I tested some scenarios. So I paste the password as test and confirmation as a test as well. So we have one button is temporary as well. So if you wanted to password is as a temporary, we can uh, off disable the switch. If you wanted to enable the if you wanted to mandate the password, we can enable the switch, and then we can simply save the changes. Yeah, so that's all about the setting up the Keycloak server. So now we have our last step, like setting up our React app. So to create our new React app, we have to paste one command, npx create React app, and we have to give any name. So it's we can give any name. So I'm just giving you one sample. And in the next line is Keycloak JS library will be used for React Keycloak implementation. So Keycloak JS library is widely used uh, for the Keycloak implementation. We just have to simply import this Keycloak from Keycloak JS library, and then we have to paste this URL and realm and client ID things in the init option, and we can just simply paste this line in our React app before our main app function. So this will log in our Keycloak server before the main React app, and when user will open our main URL, so they will directly align to the Keycloak server login page. So this is the code of the same. We will go through this in the demo as well. Yeah, the second step will be what just I explained, like before the code app function will, and this Keycloak code will work, and we have some methods on load, check login, frame, and place method. So these are the some methods required by Keycloak library. So we have to paste these three things: login required, true, and S25 256, and Then we can use like .10 method to like fetch the authentication details. If we didn't get any response, we can reload the user to the app itself. Otherwise, if we wanted to notify the user if this is the error, we can also console the error and the console the error like authentication is failed. Yeah, so this is the two codes which will be which is required to set up the Keycloak server into our React app. Yeah, so that's about the last step, setting up our React app with the Keycloak. So we will go through some steps in the demo. Anyone have any questions? Otherwise, we will move to the demo part. I think we are good. So let's start with the terminal section. So first step is to run the Keycloak server. So I just pasted my command, which I shared in the PPT section. So this is the only command which is required to run the Keycloak server. So to save some time in the section, so I just run the command earlier before the section. So this will start our Keycloak server. Let me just access the Keycloak server. To access Keycloak server, I have to just enter the port localhost 8080, and we have one section, admin console, to manage all the Keycloak server operation. So as you can as all you can see, like I just set the Keycloak admin name as admin and Keycloak admin password as admin. So I have to paste the admin name and admin password. Yeah, so it will open the Keycloak admin page where I can manage the all the credentials, client and reAMP roles, and user access. So I already set up my client machine, which will use the React port, React localhost 3000 port. Only thing I have to do now is to set up the user section. So if I wanted to add one more user, I can simply add the Pushpin's name, my name, and if I wanted to avoid the email and first name and last name, I can do that. So I can avoid this. The user has been created successfully. Email is not a mandatory field, so we can avoid that. And to set, we have to set the password, open the credential section. And let me just paste some password. Yeah, so I'm setting the password is 1234. And if I wanted to set up a password as a temporary, I can enable this enable switch, a temporary switch. Otherwise, I wanted to disable this, I can disable as well. Yeah, so this will create my user. If I wanted to assign some role as well, I can do that as well. Like I wanted to make Pushpendra as admin. So I will assign the admin role to the user and assign role as admin. So when I will check, Pushpendra is added. And if I wanted to update the email and update the first name, last name, I can do that as well. Let me just take some temporary email. So I'm avoiding the first name and last name now. I'm uh, I'm hearing some noise. So anyone uh, anyone having any doubt? Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, great. Mm, so let me go to the user section. So the email is also updated now. So let me just, so this is the section we are talking in the slide section, like we can create Riang from here, but I'm using master Riang currently, but it's not advisable. I'm doing for the demo purpose only. Yeah, so let's just sign out this. And now back to the React app. So save some of the time of the demo. So I just paste the code. So I already discussed the same thing in the slide as well. Like we have to just import the Keycloak from Keycloak.js library, and then we have to import create the declare the init operation variable and set the URL and Riang and client ID. So these things are mandatory to access the Keycloak server, and then we can just access the Keycloak operation. And I just created one KC variable, and then we can initialize this, and we have to paste three methods: onload, check, login frame, and PKC methods. These three methods are required. These methods are uh, mentioned in the Keycloak.js library official document, and then we can access the response and error as well. Yeah, so this is the function which will run before the app, and so this is our secured page which will require which have the logout method, logout button, but user cannot access before the mm, correct credentials. So user have to first enter the credentials, then only user can access this page. So let me just start the React app. So this will open the Keycloak server, but let me show you the how it is working. So I'm just opening the localhost 3000 URL, but because of this method, I reload to the Keycloak authentication. Okay, now if I wanted to paste the URL, paste the information what I have user information created in the Keycloak server, like pushpin, then password is 1234. Simply enter the username and 1234 is the password and sign in. And I'm landed to the my secured React app. So if I wanted to open, I wanted to open my React app, so I will just, I don't have to log in again. So this is the feature of SSO, single sign-on. And now I wanted to open localhost 3000. It will redirect to my secure React app because I already enter the Keycloak authentication details into my login app. And if I wanted to log out, so it will give me like, do you want to log out information? And if just I log out, I also not I will not able to access this page as well. Yeah, so this will show some warning like we are sorry. We can also update the UI of this page as well. So I don't change the UI because of the demo purpose, but I hope it's clear now, like how actually it's working, how the process is actually work in Keycloak server. And if last things like if I wanted to console some show some more information like what is the user is authenticated is not authenticated and show some user information as well. So I can simply do that by getting this AC variable. So let me just follow this again. And so, if I wanted to create more users, so I can do that as well. So it's a pretty good thing to use in the market. If if you wanted to use some login mechanism, so this is the best currently in the market. Let me just log in now and console this. Oh, I'm getting some error. And so yeah, you can see some variables like what information of the users, endpoint, URL, and user is authenticated or not authenticated. We can see the values from this KC variable. So this is pretty helpful in the long term if you wanted to use login mechanism. Keycloak is currently best. Yeah, so yeah, that's the all from my side. Anybody having any doubts, so we can discuss that. If we are good, we can wrap up the session.
Yes, now that I guess you are raising your hand, you're having any query, please do let us
Yes,
know.
yes, Himanshu. Hello, Pushpendra.
Yeah, hi,
Uh,
Nandra.
I have a question related to the temporary option. As set the password as temporary, then how would the single sign-on would be working?
So password, I just temporary as a off. So password is required thing. User is required to enter the name and password as well. So it's not a temporary. I just disable the switch. So user has to enter the name or email and the password as well.
But I want to know if I choose to set the password as temporary, then what would be the working of the single sign-on?
What will be the working of the single sign-on? So a single sign-on is used to like if user is create log in the into the app, okay, and if I wanted to open another URL, then we can easily, I don't have to log in again and again. So this is the feature of single sign-on. I hope I'm correct.
Yes, yes, I got this point. Okay. And if I set the temporary password, then I would be required to enter the password again and as the permanent password or something like that.
Mm,
If I
no,
choose to set the password as temporary, then what will be the flow of the single sign-on? Like if I choose to single sign-on using the temporary password, and then I would be required to set the password as permanent also. That's my question.
mhm. I didn't try this before, but we can try this now.
Yeah. Pushpendra, if you allow me, I will answer this.
Yeah, so Paras, you wanted to answer.
Yeah. So the single sign-on is working with the email ID and password, as we all know. So if you provide any temporary password, if you try to switch to single sign-on for entering any application, you need to set the password that is permanent password first of all, and after that you will able to use the single sign-on functionality.
Okay. Okay. So first I will try with the temporary, and then I have to set the password as permanent also, right?
Yeah, so as we all know, like we are using Google for single sign-on. So if you are not entering your permanent password, so you are not capable to authenticate yourself and you are not capable to use the single sign-on functionality. That's all.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Parvez. Thank you, Pushpendra.
Yeah, thank you, Nadra. Yeah, thank you, Paris.
Yeah, no problem.
So
Guys,
yeah, I
are
think
you having any other queries? Then please do let us know. Else, we are good to wrap up the session from here. No such queries. Fine, fine, fine. I like to thank
looks like
Nadra.
everyone looks like everyone understood everything. It's a good thing then.
That's pretty good. So we'd like to thank Nadra for raising her query, and certainly, I guess it was well answered by Paras and Pushpendra collectively. So if someone have their queries, then you can surely reach out to Pushpendra later on Teams. And with this, I guess we are good to wrap up from here. Thank you everyone for joining the session. Have a great
Yeah.
evening and a great new year ahead.
Yes, definitely. So thank you, team. Thank you, everyone. So happy holidays, happy new year.
Happy holidays.
Bye bye.
Happy New Year, everyone.